everyone. Welcome to the Whitby Public Library Book to Table online program. My name is Chris and I will be making some bread today. A quick disclaimer, I am no expert in making bread. This is my first try into making bread from my own sourdough starter, and it is going to be an interesting experiment for me. Now, I would like to suggest that if you do have children at home, you get them involved in this project, because it is actually a super great, fun experiment making sourdough starter. Our previous episode of Book to Table, Shelby has made sourdough starter as well at home, and she showed you how to do it. I think it's a fun project to do because it involves just water and some flour, and it's science and chemistry and math and measuring and hands-on for, I think, all family members. So by all means, if you have children around, get them involved. At first, I would like to go over all the ingredients that we're going to use today. We're going to use flour. Now this is bread making flour, white bread making flour. I have some salt here. I have my starter ready to go. I have 370 milliliters of water. I have olive oil, and I have also a little bit of rye flour. Let me just put this aside for a minute. All right. Okay, let's talk about all the implements that I'm going to be using. I am going to use a large bowl for kneading my bread and letting it rise and rest. I have another small bowl for mixing my starter with water. I'm going to have a dampened tea towel, parchment paper, and a couple of small implements, a 1 cup measuring cup, a 1/3 of a cup measuring cup, a mixing spoon, a fork, and a spoon, and a knife. So first of all, we're going to measure 4 heaped cups of our bread making flour. 1, 2, 3. Now with the fourth one, I'm just going to do about a 1/2 cup. And I'm actually going to add another 1/2 cup of my rye flour, because I actually have a little bit of rye flour in my starter mix, and since I really do like rye flour and rye bread, I am just going to add a little bit of rye flour to my flour mix. To add to the rest of my flour, and that makes now 4 heaped cups of flour. Okay, now the next step is I'm going to use my glass bowl. I'm going to add all my water, which is room temperature water. Okay, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to use my fork, and I'm going to mix this up a little bit just to get it starting to dissolve a little. Okay. Now I'm going to get my 1/3 cup measure, and I'm actually going to add 1/3 of my starter to my water. Okay. Okay, now I know that my starter is ready to go if it floats at the surface. And I will show you that most of this starter is floating at the surface. So that's a really good sign that we are ready to make our bread. Okay, I am just going to mix that now with my fork. So mix all the starter. Really well. And I'm going to show you, it still is quite bubbly on top. All right, so after I've mixed that, give that a really good stir, I'm actually going to add all that to my flour mixture. Okay, and I'm going to take my wooden spoon and I'm going to just start mixing it. Now, most of the bread makers that I've watched on YouTube and looked in the books, the bakers prefer to use their hands, and I will do the same thing because that way you can really feel your dough. So it looks just like that right now. It's pre-mixed, but now I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to just mix it up. Now initially it's going to be a little bit sticky, but that's okay. So I really just want to give it a good mix. I don't want to overwork it. I just want to get the flour and the water mixed up well into a cohesive dough. Get all the flour incorporated in there so it looks something like that. So it's still pretty rough. It's still a little bit sticky, but that's okay. I'm just going to add that a little bit. Okay, that's actually all we're doing right now. We are just letting it sit. I am actually going to drape my dampened towel over the bowl and let it sit at room temperature. So I'm going to tuck that in and letting it sit for an hour. My timer went off and now I'm going to check my bread, and I'm also going to do my first kneading. So let's check it out. So it has not done a huge amount. I feel it has developed a little bit. It's puffed up a little bit. So this is now going to be our first stage in kneading our bread. So let me just get my work surface here. Now I'm also going to add a little bit of the flour, not too much. I just don't want it from sticking, but we definitely don't want to add too much flour. So I'm going to just take it out. Yeah, there's definitely something is happening. It's just a tiny bit sticky still, but not too much. So what we actually want to do, we don't really want to knead it, we just want to stretch and fold it. So it is already getting a little stretchy. So I'm just going to fold it. And I think I need a little bit more flour. So I'm going to stretch and fold, stretch and fold. So we're just going to do that a few times. So I don't really put a lot of force behind this. I don't really want to knead it. I just want to just fold it over gently. So it stops being sticky now. So I'm going to do this a couple more times, going all around. Okay. I think that's it. It's already shaped into a nice round ball. It stopped being sticky. So I'm actually going to use some of my parchment paper. And I'm going to line my bowl with this. Give it a sprinkle of flour inside. And put my dough with the seam side down into my bowl. Sprinkle with a tiny little bit of flour. Okay. Cover it up again with my dampened tea towel and set it aside again for another 30 minutes. I will then repeat the same step that I'm doing now, and then we're going to get it ready for the bulk rise, but I'll talk about that in a little while. So now I've had my dough resting for about an hour. I've kneaded it gently a couple of times, and now I am going to fold it and stretch it for the last time before I'm going to do my bulk rest. So I've had it actually for the last half an hour in my oven. My oven has been off. I've just had the light on, so just give it a little bit of warmth. So let me just get it out. All right, here it is. I'm gonna take my damp towel off again. Okay, let me just show you quickly how it's looking right now. So it is slowly expanding. Let me just take it out. There it is. I'm just going to just ever so slightly flour my hands. Okay, I'm gonna put my parchment paper right back in my bowl. Give my work surface just a very, very little flouring. And I'm going to do the last time, I'm going to do the stretching and the folding. By now, it's almost like pizza dough. It's super stretchy. It's not sticky at all anymore. So I'm just going to fold it. And then I'm just going to fold the corners over. Going around a few more times like previously. And there we go. Now you know when your dough is right, when it has this lovely consistency. It's not too wet, it's not sticky anymore, it's easily workable, it's pliable. And I'm always just folding from the outside in. Okay, and I think that does it. So I'm going to turn it over again. Okay, and I'm just going to form it into a nice round dough. All right. So I'm going to put it now back into my bowl and back into my parchment paper. I'm going to show you here. Okay. Now, a couple of words to the bulk rise stage. The bulk rise or rest means that we're approximately going to let it rise very slowly for between 10 and 12 hours. So it's a really slow, long progress that just develops all the gases and the bubbles inside the bread. So it is a really nice round shaped loaf. Now I'm going to put it back in here. Again, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour on it and the sides because it is going to rise a little bit more. Again, I'm going to make sure that my towel is damp. I have a little water here. I'm actually going to give it a little bit more moisture because we don't want the outside of our loaf to form a kind of hardened crust right now. We want to wait till it goes in the oven for baking. Okay, so I am going to cover my loaf up again for about 10 hours. So that is for me tonight, and I will see you all tomorrow morning when we actually bake our bread. We have now let our bread rest for about 10 to 12 hours. It's the morning now, and let's have a look at that bread. So I am going to actually take it out. And I'm going to make it flat. Okay. So you can see that it's soft right now. It has just about doubled in volume. When you make a test, when you put your finger into the dough, it bounces, there is an indent and it kind of bounces back up half. That means it's in a really good place. It has risen and you're almost ready to bake it. So these are our baking steps. First of all, you need I'm gonna just put this back in my bowl for a minute, or actually out here. So let's talk about where we're going to bake our bread in. I have a Dutch oven. It's quite a large one. It is recommended that you bake your bread into something that has a lid that can trap the moisture. For the best outcome of your bread, you need something that keeps the moisture in your pot while it's being baked. It has the best outcome for your bread in terms of crust and texture of your bread. So one of the things that we have to start doing is preheating our oven. Now it's a very high temperature, between 475 degrees Fahrenheit and 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that sounds incredibly high to me too, but that's the temperature that is required. And you preheat your empty cast iron pot or any other device that you're going to bake your bread in. You preheat that with the oven while the oven is preheating. So while our oven is just finished preheating, it has almost reached temperature, and my cast iron pot has been in the oven now for close to 45 minutes. I've taken my bread out of the fridge, and I'm going to take it really quickly out because now I have to score the top of the bread. Let me just show this to you. For that, I'm just going to take a little bit of my olive oil and sprinkle it, really just a drop, on my knife. I have a nice sharp knife with a serrated edge, and I'm going to score my bread. This is kind of important to let any extra air out of my bread so it forms a nice crust. So I'm just going to give it a good score. I'm going about almost an inch in, right through the middle. Okay, I'm going to put my bowl away. Now, when you take your cast iron pot out of the oven, please make sure that you have very good oven mitts on because your pot is going to be extremely hot. So let's take that pot out of the oven. Gonna take the lid off for a second. I'm going to plop my bread right in the parchment paper, right in the pot, in the center of the pot. I'm going to put my oven mitts back on, close my lid, and pop that right back in the oven. I've reduced my temperature now to 450 degrees and I will bake my bread for about 25 minutes with the lid on, and then I will bake it the last 10 minutes with the lid off. All right, my buzzer just went off, so let's take our bread out of the oven. Again, don't forget those heavy-duty oven mitts. Okay, let's have a look. Take this pot off here for a second. And here is our finished loaf. Slide that right off. I'm going to turn that off. Okay. So let's have a look at this bread. It's looking really good. I'm going to turn it over. It sounds nice and hollow on the back. It has a great color. You see where I scored the middle. It's a fantastic color. It smells absolutely delicious. I am going to let this cool down for a little bit because otherwise a lot of steam and air rushes out and might condense my bread. So we will cut this just in a few minutes from now. This bread has cooled down a little bit now. It's lukewarm, and let's cut it open and see how it looks inside. Okay, I'm going to bring this a little closer. There we go. So the color is good. It smells delicious. I do have some a little bit bigger air bubbles, but I think that is okay. Overall, it's moist. It's has good texture. It has a beautiful crust. So I think I am very happy with my bread today. This concludes our bread making with the Whitby Public Library. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow us on social media or visit us at whitbylibrary.ca to discover more of our online programs and collections. Recipes and book suggestions will be in the description below. Thank you.